We have about 75 basic functions. It's a complicated office that's difficult to describe in 2 minutes. But the philosophy, the state laws set out what we're to do, and I believe we're to be fair-minded as a justice of the peace at the lowest level of the court. We're to treat people with respect. We're to treat people according to law. We have a system in place where it's not hard for anybody to have a trial. You don't have to hire a lawyer. We explain that to everyone that comes in, and we have a great number of trials. We handle a myriad of cases that people don't understand. Emergency protective order. I had a young lady, about this lady's age, come into my court, and her face is swelled out to here, and she's shaking, and she can't look at me in the eye. She sits sideways to me, and she can't look at me, but I've got to get her to talk to me. And you need the right person in the office who can talk calmly to that person and make them feel that it's comfortable and that they're going to be protected. When I first took office, I had a peace bond case. I was mentioning this to Judge Newman just the other day. Put the guy in jail because it was a horrible case, and the judge in whose court it took place came back and let the guy out on PR bond, and he went and killed him. We handle children a lot. I have them all in my district. Shoplifting, truancy cases, a lot of alcohol cases that we all deal with, and education is my philosophy. I developed the first MIP program in Texas where young people are assessed, not just to say you're an alcoholic or not, but when you're your age, if you take this test and it shows you have the propensity to be an alcoholic or a drug abuser, it opens your eyes. And some of these party animals at Tech, it hits them hard right between the eyes. The program I developed is now a requirement in all 254 counties of Texas. I also developed the first shoplifting program where you come back high risk, medium risk, or low risk. Chris, I was telling you about this. If they come back high risk, which most don't, I have an educational program where I can get them counseling. But I'm a big believer in counseling. We have a mediation program on all our truancy cases when interpersonal problems come to the forefront. I don't have time when I have 60 cases to get into each one, so I can send them out with a mediator. And we've had great success in resolving a lot of interpersonal family problems. And I'm out of time again.
Okay, thank you. The Justice Court has the jurisdiction of misdemeanor offenses that are punishable by fine only. The Justice of the Peace has very, very limited authority to incarcerate somebody, and that would come under contempt. And that's, I don't know about the other courts, but for me, that doesn't happen very often at all. But we are responsible for adjudicating Class C misdemeanors punishable by fine only. As Judge Hanson stated, we handle a lot of cases with the juveniles. My court does the truancy hearings for quadrant of our Lubbock Independent School, APEP school out at Roosevelt, Lubbock Cooper down south of town, and Slate are the schools that file truancy hearings in my court, and we do those on a weekly basis. We also handle a lot of alcohol cases that are filed. Most of the strip that are out on south of town is in my precinct, and prior to Lubbock being voted wet, most of the alcohol offenses occurred in my precinct, and so those cases were filed in my court. We handle those cases and go back to the alcohol programs that Judge Hanson referred to. Judge Hanson talked about being called out at night, and that's true, he is, but so are the rest of us. That's on a rotation basis, and every fourth week, whatever judge is on responsible for filing the felonies that week, that's who gets called. So there's been many a night that my wife has got up out of bed and made the coffee for the officers that are going to come by for us to review those search warrants and affidavits that are being filed. But Class C misdemeanors and cases that are punishable by fine only are the cases that we handle. Thank you.
I think the main job of any judge, whether it be the Justice of the Peace, the county courts, the district courts, the Court of Appeals, any judge, is to be impartial. And that is the most essential element. If you can't be impartial, you shouldn't be a judge. That's the way I feel. And I have the experience of working on both sides. I have a unique way of looking at each case because I've represented both people on both sides. I'm a very down-to-earth kind of person. My clients, whether when I was a prosecutor or a defense attorney, they understand what they've done wrong because I explain it to them. I have a psychology degree. I think it's not only the job of an attorney just to get people off or to prosecute them or whatever side you're on. It's to counsel. And that's what I always believed in ever since I started as an attorney. And I sit down with my clients and I talk with them. I did the same thing as a prosecutor. And that's why even the people I put in jail, they respected me because I respected them. I don't treat them like subhuman individuals. These are people. These are people's daughters, sons that come into court, especially in the JP level. We're not talking about people who are going to go to jail. We're talking about kids that probably have never done anything before in their lives and they're scared to death. And they need someone that's compassionate to talk to, but yet that's tough, that's going to listen to them and explain to them what they did wrong and why they're there so that it doesn't happen again. And the impartiality is so essential because you have to have a judge that is able to look at the full range of punishment. Whether that individual that got a minor in possession of alcohol ticket deserves a deferred adjudication, give them a chance, get some counseling, keep it off their record, or are they a repeat offender that's done it over and over again and they maybe don't deserve it to keep it off their record this time. You have to have someone that'll look at both sides. And no matter what my religious views are, I can look at both sides no matter what the case is and be impartial. And that's the most important thing.
Getting back to what I recall the original question was.
Would you like me to repeat it?
Yeah.
Oh,
yes, please.
sure. And at any time, if it gets around to you and you're the last person,
I think it was about the duties of the office, but yeah, go ahead.
Describe your understanding of the role and duties of the officer.
Yeah, and getting back to the actual question, as Judge Hanson mentioned, there are dozens of different functions, duties that a justice of the peace can do. And getting to back to my experience, Judge Hanson made reference to population of various districts and counties. Yes, the county I worked in was about half the size, but the precinct I worked in was approximately $100,000. There were 2 JPs that served that precinct. The ratio of citizens to JPs is approximately the same. In any case, every JP court has the same basic duties and responsibilities. And in the 8 years I worked in JP court in Taylor County as a clerk and as a justice of the peace, I took part in just about every kind of procedure, hearing, or trial that a JP can take part in. One thing, I don't think it's been mentioned before, correct me if I'm wrong, but one thing that's unusual about the position of Justice of the Peace is that the JP is actually, the JP actually presides over 2 different kind of courts, one of which is small claims court. That's somewhat similar to People's Court in that it's not as formal as other courts, but the JP is also presides over what's called Justice Court. It is a more formal court in which the rules of evidence and procedure apply. As an example, eviction cases are handled in Justice Court. So a little bit of extra details about the office, and that's all I have to say about that.
Great, thank you.